All right. So, good morning, children. Good morning to all of you.
Morning, ma'am.
Good
Good
morning, ma'am.
morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am. Fine, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Did you go through the two stanzas of the poem which we did in the last class?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Any doubts regarding the poem?
No, ma'am.
No,
Ma'am.
no, ma'am.
Okay. Steven, can you give
Yes,
a
ma'am.
try to explain the first stanza? Shivanya was absent. She was not able to attend the class. So, can you just help her?
Ma'am, the
Yes.
poet is a sarcastical writer.
Yes. Mm.
Ma'am, he is telling that killing a tree is simple as punching someone with a knife.
Mm.
Ma'am, it slowly grows by consuming sunlight, air, and water for years.
Okay.
Then its leaves are like yellowish color
Mm.
uh, uh, le- when it's sprouting leaf.
Mm. All right. Okay. Michelle, what about the second stanza?
Ma'am, the poet says that
Mm.
the wound caused by the knife will heal,
Mm.
and from the ground, close to the ground, the rise called green twigs means
Come on,
ma'am,
whatever
it's
you understood, you say.
unchecked.
Whether it is right or wrong, that doesn't matter. I just
Ma'am,
want to know what you have understood.
if we do not pluck with the roots, if we will not pluck with the roots, it will grow again to former sides. Its
All right,
former
all right.
sides.
So those who were absent in the previous class, please listen. I'll quickly recapitulate what we have done in the previous class. Okay. It takes much time to kill a tree. Not a simple jab of the knife will do it. It has grown, slowly consuming the earth, rising out of it, feeding upon its crust, absorbing years of sunlight, air, water, and out of its leprous hide, sprouting leaves. So, the poem On Healing a Tree, written by Jeev Patel, is a very sensitive poem that tells about man's cruelty towards nature. Okay, the poet, rather than using the word cut, he uses the word kill. The word kill means to take out the life from something or someone. Okay, and we find that the process of killing a tree is not so easy. Just like if you strike the outer part of the tree with a knife, the tree will not be hurt. That is what the poet says. Okay, so the tree is compared to that of the life of a human being. Just like human beings have life, the tree also has got its own life. It takes much time to kill a tree, not a simple jab of the knife will do it. Simply, if you strike or cut with a knife, the life of the tree cannot be taken away. It has grown, slowly consuming the earth, rising out of it, feeding upon its crust, absorbing years of sunlight, air, water, and out of its leprous hide, sprouting leaves. How did the poet compare the life of a tree to that of a human being in the last class I told you? Pratana, can you tell me?
When the tree is requesting to the
Okay, the tree is requesting, that we discussed. But then
leopard,
that comparison of tree with that of a human being. We know that trees are stationary, they cannot move from one place to another just like humans do. But how can we consider the tree as a living being? The tree absorbs the nourishment from the soil. It absorbs water and minerals. It absorbs
water, and
the
minerals.
nourishments from the soil. It takes sunlight and fresh air. Just like we take in oxygen, the trees need carbon dioxide. Yes. And then I compared the growth of the tree to that of a growth of a baby inside a mother's womb. Do you all remember that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Just like a baby absorbs all the vitamins and minerals and all the necessary essential elements from mother's body in order to grow into a complete one. The tree absorbs sunlight, air, water, and other essential minerals from the soil. Okay, so the process of growth of tree is not so quick. It requires so many months or years for the tree to grow into a big one, just like we see around us. So the poet says that it has grown slowly consuming. Consuming means absorbing all the
Observing.
nourishments from the earth, rising out of it. So those who have planted the seed, you know how much time will it take for a
Yes.
plant to grow into a big tree.
Inside.
You know that is it a sudden process?
No.
No,
Take
not
some
at all.
time.
It requires many
Time.
months or years for the plant to grow into a big one.
Normal.
Feeding upon its crust. Crust means the outer part of the soil, the rocky, hard part of the soil. Absorbing years of sunlight, air, water, and out of its leprous hide sprouting leaves. The external part of the tree, the trunk of the tree. Trunk means the main part
Main
of the tree.
side.
Yes, the stem. That appears to be in a in the form of a unsmooth
Unseen.
covering. Okay, leprosy. I have told you what is leprosy.
Ma'am,
Ashmit,
not a
what is
And
leprosy?
discolored.
Hmm? What do you mean by
ma'am.
leprosy?
And lumpy skin.
Colored and lumpy skin.
No, that with regard to the poem, leprous hide means discolored and lumpy skin. You know that the outer skin
Ma'am,
of the
very hard
uh,
skin.
will be
Skin
very
is
hard.
very
It will not be smooth,
smooth,
and it will be either in brownish color or dark grayish color.
grayish color.
But what do you mean by leprosy? Leprosy is
Ma'am,
a
it you said it was a
ah
disease that
yes,
was affected
it
by
was a chronic
this.
disease, a chronic skin disease, which was prevalent in the olden times. Okay, an infectious disease that could be easily spread. So the poet is comparing the trunk of a tree, the external part of the tree, to that of a person who is affected with leprosy, because the tree's stem or the trunk will not be so smooth and that will not be so colorful. And out of its leprous hide sprouting leaves. So very slowly, the process of growth of tree is very slow, as it requires years and years to grow into a mighty one. So hack and chop, but this alone won't do it. As I told you in the previous class, this is a sarcastic poem. The poet is mocking at the behavior of the human beings. He's ridiculing the human beings. Come on, how are you trying to kill a tree? It's not an easy process, but you require something more. So hack and chop, but this alone won't do it. If you merely hack, if you merely cut, and if you chop the branches or the stems or the leaves, you're not going to kill a tree. It's not so easy to kill a tree. Not so much pain will do it. Did I show you the image of sap oozing out?
No,
Only the
no.
trees,
Yes,
different types.
Only the big trees you showed.
only the big trees, only that
Yes.
I showed you.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'll show you in the next class. All right. So we find that when we cut a part of the tree, sometimes you find a white liquid substance that
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes,
comes
yes.
out. Have you noticed that?
Yes,
Yes.
Yes,
yes.
a white liquid sticky substance comes out. That is what
Right.
you call as sap.
Sap.
Okay, sap. So the sap that comes out from the portion where the branch has been cut is compared to the blood of a human being. Imagine that when we cut the vegetables by mistake, if we strike on a finger, what happens?
Blood
Blood
will
will
come.
come.
Yes, blood comes out. So the sap that comes out from the part of a tree where it is cut is compared to the blood of a human being. Okay, so the poet says that if you cut the stem or a branch or a leaf, the sap just comes out, but it will be healed very soon. For the time being, we will have some pain, but then that wound
It
will
will
be
be
healed
healed.
very soon. Am I right?
Yes.
The poet says that not so much pain will do it. The bleeding bark will heal, and from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs, miniature boughs, if unchecked, will expand again to former size. We know that especially during the monsoon season, there is a tendency for us to cut the stems and big branches and leaves. Yes, foliages will be cut off. That is a common practice. But then when we, after a few months, again we would see that the tree has grown into former size. How does this happen? Huh?
Ma'am, because soil is there.
Yes,
And the
because
roots are
yes,
in
because
the
the
soil.
tree is firmly rooted in the soil.
Soil.
Okay, that foundation is very strong, so that the tree has got a unique quality, that is no matter how many times we cut the stem or the branches or the
Will
leaves,
grow.
it will grow into its former size.
No,
So the
former
poet says that the bleeding bark will heal from close to the ground. We will find so many green twigs, small branches coming up, miniature boughs. Miniature means tiny,
Tiny.
and bough
Tiny.
means the main branch of the tree. So we would find so many tiny branches coming up, which if unchecked will expand again to the former size. If you don't cut it frequently, then again the tree would grow into its normal size. Are these two stanzas clear to you?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Shivanya, you got the idea?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So shall we move on to the third stanza?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
No, the root is to be pulled out. And Leah, read that stanza. So the third
Yes,
stanza
ma'am.
is very important. The poet speaks about the important part of the tree. Let's see what is that. Hmm.
No, the root is to be pulled out of the anchoring earth.
Hmm.
It is to be roped, tied, and pulled out, snapped out,
Hmm.
or pulled out entirely,
Hmm.
out from the earth's cave,
Hmm.
and the strength of the tree exposed,
Hmm.
the source white and wet, the most sensitive, hidden for years inside the earth.
All right. So the poet says that if you have to kill a tree, what is to be pulled out?
Root.
Root.
What is the main part of the tree?
Root.
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 Roots are the main part of the tree. No, the root is to be pulled out. So actually, he is not telling us how to kill a tree, or he is not making us understand the method of killing a tree. But then this is a sarcastic poem. He is mocking, he is ridiculing at the action of human beings. Okay, because we find that the deforestation is happening to a great extent. That is why we face all these calamities. Natural calamities happens. Yes, 2 years before we face, if we happened to encounter a natural disaster, that was
Flood.
Flood.
what was that?
Flood. Flood.
Natural
Flood.
calamity, flood. How did it happen?
Ma'am, because of cutting trees.
Yes, because of the endless cutting of trees. Okay, we know that roots are something that held the soil together. It prevents soil erosion. But then, if there are no more trees, what happens? When there is
Water will
continuous,
rise.
frequent, heavy rain, all the soil will be washed away. Okay. So the root is to be pulled out of the anchoring earth. It is to be rocked, tied, and pulled out, snapped out. So out of the anchoring earth, that means the roots hold the soil firmly. Okay, the soil particles are held securely with the help of the roots. So out of the anchoring earth, the roots should be pulled out. Now, what are the kinds of methods that we adopt to pull out a tree? Do you think that cutting trees is such an easy process?
No, ma'am.
No.
No.
No. Very
Not
hard.
all. I showed you the images of
Yes.
big trees.
Yes, ma'am.
You can just imagine
Yes.
the width of such trees. Those trees are years and years old, but it still remains with green leaves and with big branches. So imagine that how many people will be required to cut a tree. And now, what is the method that we adopt to pull out a tree from its mother's?
By taking by
Uh,
Ma'am,
click.
Merely if we cut the branches and stem, it will grow back into its normal size.
Yes.
So how can you kill a tree? How can you destroy a tree? What is the method that we adopt? We have modern machineries. Can you name any one of them? Hmm?
And to cut the trees.
Ah, yes, yes.
Chainsaw.
Hmm? Please.
Chainsaw.
Steve said something.
Chainsaw.
Once again?
Ma'am,
Chainsaw.
Okay, all right. Then?
Machines, right?
Machines. I think with the help of JCB, you can pull.
Yes, ma'am, I was about to tell that.
Yes. With the help of JCB, we can uh, pull out a tree fully. That means the entire root can be pulled out. Okay. So the root is to be pulled out of the anchoring earth. It is to be ropped, tied and pulled out, snapped out. So it has to be ropped, it has to be tied, and then with a great effort, it has to be pulled out and snapped out. Snapping means after pulling the entire tree out, it has to be cut into pieces or pulled out entirely out from the earth cave. Again, I find that we can equate this process with something else. Who can tell me? The roots, the important part which is hidden in the soil, is pulled out with a great effort and it is thrown out. So that process can be equated with any idea?
Humans.
Humans.
our main part.
The growing of a tree is compared to that of a growing of a baby inside a mother's womb. So killing of a tree, pulling out the roots from.
Adoption.
Yes. Pratana?
Ma'am, adopting a baby. Adoption.
And there's another word, no, like taking the baby.
I understood what you tried to convey. It's not adoption. Adoption means you are taking charge of a baby.
Ma'am,
Okay,
abortion.
taking a charge of a
Abortion.
baby. Care of.
Abortion.
Yes, exactly. That is the word. Abortion. Yes, abortion. Killing of a tree can be compared very well with that of abortion. A baby who is inside the mother's womb is tortured very cruelly and either burned or pulled out. Okay, after killing, that baby is pulled out of the mother's womb. So the killing process of a tree can be compared to that of an abortion of a baby. That means the roots, the important part, is pulled out from the earth cave. And the strength of the tree exposed. What is the strength of the tree? Strength. The strength of the tree is exposed.
Very strong.
When we human beings are considered, what is very important? The body or the soul? The body or the soul? What is more important?
Soul.
Of course, soul. Soul is important. We do believe that in all the religions, whether it is in Christianity or in Hinduism or in Islamism, we believe that we have a soul. If we do something good, if we live in a good way, definitely after our death, our soul goes to heaven. We all believe that. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, definitely. We believe that. And that is why when we do some mistakes, we regret about it. We feel that we shouldn't have done that. Okay, that is because the conscious within us repeatedly says that this is not right and this is not you have to do. Okay, so the soul is there within us. Body is just an outer covering. It's just an external fact. But something that is internal within us, the soul is very important. So the strength of the tree is exposed. When we consider the tree, what is the strength? What is the strength of the tree? What is the main part of the tree?
Soul, roots.
Yes, the roots. Okay, the strength of the tree means roots. Only if you pull off the root, a tree can be killed. Till then, no matter how many times we cut the stem or the branches or the leaves, it will grow into the former size. Are you able to follow?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And the strength of the tree exposed, the source white and wet. So the roots are the very sensitive part of the tree. It is white in color and it is very soft and it is always wet. Wet in the sense?
Very
Every time
Stores water.
it
it
is in
stores
contact
water.
with water.
water.
Okay. So the trees roots penetrate deep into the soil and it reaches underground water table, and from the underground water table, the roots absorb the water and it circulates to all the parts of the tree. Okay, that is how that process is done. So nowadays we don't find any trees nearby, and that is the reason why we don't find any streams also. Okay, so trees plays a major role in protecting the environment. In fact, the source, white and wet, the delicate part of the tree is its root, the most sensitive, hidden for years inside the earth. So just like we have our soul, the soul is hidden within us. We cannot see the soul. Can we see the soul?
No.
No, it's not possible. But we know that we have a soul, we have a conscience. And the body is something that only can be seen. That is an external part. It's just a covering for our soul. But then only if we do good things, definitely we will be able to reach the heaven. Okay, there is an afterlife. We all believe in that. So we have to we have to do certain good things in our life so that our soul, soul will be reaching to the heaven. Okay, so similarly, these roots are hidden inside the earth cave for many years. Delicate part, the sensitive part, that has been hidden inside the earth's cave for many years. And that strength is what we are going to expose to the sunlight. Is it clear, children?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Now we'll move on to the last stanza. Gino? Gino, read.
Yes, ma'am.
Read the last stanza.
Then the matter of scorching and choking in sun and air,
Scorching
browning,
and chalking.
scorching and choking in sun and air, browning, hardening, twisting, withering, and then it is done.
Then it is done. So now with the help of the modern machineries, it's very easy to kill a tree. As I told you, JCB can easily pull out a tree from the earth's cave. The roots can be pulled out easily. So once the roots are pulled out, then what is remaining? Then the matter of scorching and choking in sun and air, the roots, the most sensitive part, the most strengthening part of the tree is exposed to the sun. Okay, once the tree has been uprooted, gradually it starts withering and drying up. You know that when, for example, if you pluck out a leaf from the tree and if you throw it in the sun, what will happen? The very next day you will find it in
A dry form.
yes, in a
Very
dried
dried up.
form. The green leaf would turn into brown in color
Brown,
and it
yes.
dries up very fast and you can easily crush it off. Okay, so if, similarly, when the roots are pulled out, then the matter of scorching and choking. Due to heavy sunlight, it starts browning, hardening. The color changes. It becomes hard. It twists and withers, and then it is done. So dying of the tree happens only when it is uprooted completely. Okay. So the trunk and the roots both will become brown in color. It will become hard, and then very slowly it can be crushed into powder form, or it can be chopped into pieces. Okay, so that is all about the poem on killing a tree. Now it's almost time. I would like to give you some notes regarding the poem. Is the stanzas clear to you?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Any
Yes,
doubts?
ma'am. No, ma'am.
Any doubts regarding any words or phrases or lines from the poem?
Ma'am,
Okay, I'll make you read it once again, and if you have got any doubts, definitely I'll clear it in the next class. Okay?
okay, ma'am.
Did you all hear that?
Yes, ma'am.
Almost time, the other teacher is waiting. So I don't have any other option but to wind up. So, Dion, I want you to read it quickly. Just read the poem once again. Yes, fully. Make it fast.
It takes much time to kill a tree. Not a simple jab of knife will do it. It has grown slowly, consuming the earth, rising out of it, feeding upon it each crust, absorbing years of sunlight, air, water, and out of its lips, let
Lepers
pure
hide.
sight hide, let pure sight sprouting leaves.
All right, thank
So
you. Shivanya, next stanza.
Ma'am,
Second
to
stanza.
hack and chop, but this alone won't do it. Not so much pain will do it. The bleeding bark will heal, and from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs, miniature boughs, which, if
Curled green twigs.
will rise curled green twigs, miniature boughs, which, if unchecked, will expand again to former size.
All right. Jeevan, next stanza.
No, the root is to be pulled out of the anchoring earth. It is to be roped tight and pulled out, snapped out or pulled out entirely, out from the earth cave, and the strength of the tree exposed, the source, white and wet, the most sensitive hidden for years inside the earth.
Okay. Devika, next stanza, last stanza.
Then the matter of scorching and choking in sun and air, rounding, hardening, twisting, withering, and then it's done.
Okay, all right. So I would like to ask you a few questions just to make sure that you have understood. Okay. For exam, do you know that we have 2 chapters?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect drives and God bargain and on killing a tree. All the questions will be objective. Okay. So make sure that you don't make any mistakes while choosing the.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, in the timetable given, grammar and English on the literature on the same day, so it will be
Shivanya,
in
I
the
think you
same.
have a poor connectivity. It's not clear for me. Once again. Hmm?
Ma'am, in the timetable, it is given literature and grammar on the same day, so it will be in the same period.
Ah, yes. It's combined, literature and grammar combined. Literature for 12 marks and grammar for 8 marks. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
that is how the exam will be.
Ma'am,
So you'll be getting 12 questions from literature.
ma'am, should we learn about the author?
Yes, you have to learn a bit about author, not in detail, but just peripheral level. That's
Okay,
it.
ma'am.
And just the names and
Ah, yes. Names, then important works.
okay,
That's
ma'am.
all you have to learn.
Okay.
Not the biography, no need of when he was born, when he was died, and something like that.
Okay.
The name, if any peculiar name is there, that you have to learn.
Ma'am, like pen
Poems.
name.
Yes, if any pen name is there that you have to learn, original name is there that you have to learn, then important poems that you have to learn. Okay, just the
Okay, ma'am.
necessary points. That's enough. Okay, so let me quickly ask you some questions. According to the poet, to kill a tree, I'll give you options, okay? To kill a tree, option 1 takes less time. Option B, it is not easy. Option C, it is the right thing. Option D, it is almost impossible. Krishnaveni, can you give me the answer? According to the poet, to kill a tree, options. It takes less time. It's not easy. It's the right thing. It is almost impossible.
Ma'am, it's almost impossible.
Do you all agree with the same answer?
Yes. Ma'am, no.
No, ma'am.
It's
It
not
is
easy.
not easy.
It is not
Not
easy.
easy.
Hmm?
It's
It is
not
not
easy.
easy.
Ma'am, it's
Not
not
easy.
easy.
Okay. Suppose if you get the options like that, and if finally there is an option, none of the above, you have to opt that. Okay. The poet says that it takes much time to kill a tree. Got it?
The answer is none
Okay.
of the above.
If all the options do not belong to what the answer is, then you can opt for none of the above. Clear?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay,
Okay,
ma'am.
ma'am.
You
Yes.
have to be very careful.
Okay.
Okay. What is the tone of the poem? What is the tone of the poem? Option A,
Ma'am.
the poet is happy. Option B, the poet is sad. Option C, sarcastic. Which is our correct option? Sarcastic. Okay. Then, what will rise from close to the ground? Okay. Option A, green twigs. Option B, new leaves. Option C, sprouting leaves. Option D, new roots.
Ma'am, green twigs.
Green twigs.
Very good, very good. So this will be the model for PT1 and
Ma'am, can you say again? It's not clear for me. I didn't hear properly.
last one, last question.
Yes. Ma'am, there's some disturbance sound. Yes.
Somebody else has not muted, that is why. I have already told you to keep in muted mode. If some sound comes in between, our class will be disturbed. The question is, what will rise from close to the ground? Option A, green twigs. Option B, new leaves. Option C, sprouting leaves. Option D, new roots. Okay, what is the answer?
Green twigs.
Green twigs. Okay, so you have to read the poem again and again. I'm sure that from the chapter, Mrs. Beck, you will be able to answer most of the question. But then on killing a tree, if you're not thorough with the lines and with the meaning, then it will be confusing for you. All right?
Okay, ma'am.
So if you have any doubts regarding the lines or the words or phrases, you can contact me through WhatsApp. Okay.
Okay,
Shall I
ma'am.
wind up?
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, children. I will meet you in the next,
Thank you, ma'am.
the next class.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Information about the stanzas. Of
Bye,
the
ma'am.
poem. Okay.
Bye, ma'am.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you,
you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.